All right, if you are still with me here, we are looking at the robot game rules. We are specifically going to be looking at the preparation rules today. This is all coming out of the robot game rule book, which is a very important document. Make sure you read it thoroughly. What happens is a lot of teams will watch the video and not read the rules, so they will miss out on a lot of really, really helpful information that will make their lives much easier as they go through competition. So I'm scrolling through this book, and as I go through this, I'm going to be starting on page 21 here, which is where the rules start. This is all based on today, which is July 31st, 2021. The rules can change over time, and we'll talk about what to do about that when it happens. So we're going to start with the preparation rules. We're going to start with R01, which is equipment. Most important things to know about equipment, and you can read all this yourself, but I'm going to hit some highlights. 1. If you bring it to the table, it is equipment. That includes your robot. That includes attachments for your robot. That includes any parts made out of Legos that you're using to line up your robot or to prepare your robot, anything that you bring to the table. It also includes your innovation project model, which we'll talk about later. But anything you bring to the table is equipment. Your equipment must be made from Lego pieces. And the only thing you can bring that's not Lego pieces, you can bring a piece of paper with notes on it, and you can bring a micro SD card if you loaded an operating system onto your brick. That covers about 99% of the equipment rules. The thing we'll talk about is what can you use to build your robot? And this has been a point of confusion for some coaches recently. Any Lego Mindstorms, that's the Robot Inventor, the NXT, the RCX, or the EV3 can be used. The EV3 looks like this. If you get an EV3, it's going to come from Lego Education. Lego Education in a box that looks like this. You might have more than one box, but there's one box for the main set. And it looks like this. Most of our veteran teams use the EV3 because it's been the main brick for a few years now. It replaced the NXT probably around 2013, 2014, somewhere in that time range. This brick is no longer being produced by Lego. It is retired as of 2021. It is still legal for First Lego League Challenge, so you are more than welcome to use it if that is what you have to work with. The Spike Prime is Lego's new offering, and this will be the main brick going forward. But just like when the EV3 came on the scene, the NXT was still legal. The EV3 is retiring, but the Spike Prime is the main brick, but the EV3 is still legal. Do not buy a new set unless you want to or feel like you need to. There may be some advantages you get from it that are just convenient. There may not be. Make the best decision for your team, because if the EV3 is the best choice for your team, we want you to use that. In terms of these controllers, you can only bring one to the competition area. So you can bring a backup with you to the competition to keep in your pit in an emergency. But during a single match, you can only have one with you at the table. So if you bring a backup, leave it in the pit until the match you're going to use it in. You cannot have a backup. So if your brick breaks or dies in the middle of a match, you are not allowed to swap it out. That's just how the match is going to end. Not a lot we can do about that. But you can have the backup brick, and you can swap it in for your next match. For motors. Motors come in a lot of shapes and sizes. And I've got 4 different ones right here. This is the large EV3 motor. This is the small EV3 motor. This is the large Spike Prime motor. And this is the small Spike Prime motor. You can bring as many of these to the competition as you want. However, during a match, you can only have 4 at the field. That's not on the robot. That's not on the table. That is with you in the competition area. No more than 4. And the robot, you can have no more than 4 on the robot at a time because you can't have more than 4 with you at the field. So keep that in mind. That is probably the equipment rule that'll trip most people up. The sensors, there's no limit. You're just restricted by what the brick can handle. But that covers equipment. And equipment is anything you bring to the table, and for 99.9% of the time, has to be made out of Lego bricks. Again, there's more information here that you can read through, but what I've kind of gone over here, I think, are what constitute the biggest pieces of information you need to know here.